Hey guys, I'm gonna be putting these at the beginning of each episode. It's basically me explaining what I learned and experienced during each interview. Uh, Today I interviewed Boris. He lives in Vietnam. He's a Russian, and I learned that no matter the fact that me and Boris are across the globe, and we've had completely different backgrounds, living in completely different countries, we're really just the same. Underneath, we are the same underneath. We're all in the human condition together. We're all in the stuff in between together. And me and Boris, by the end of the interview, we make a real connection. We make a real bond. At least I think so. And like I said, like me and Boris have the same, we all have the same problems in life. Maybe not entirely the same problems, but we deal with a lot of the same shit in the same way, but we're all so different from each other. But we can connect through talking and understanding one another, not arguing. And I just really enjoyed my interview with Boris. I think this goes to show how two completely different people can connect with each other just through the power of the internet. That's just so crazy to me. And Boris is a director. I'm going to be leaving a link to his YouTube channel and his music video he'll talk about in the podcast for a little bit. It's really good. It's honestly really good. I'm not just saying that, Boris. I thought it was fucking amazing. I can't wait to see what you come up with. The shit that's coming your way it's gonna be great. I hope the doors will be there for you to open. And for everyone else, I hope the same thing. Leave down in the comments what you think of this interview, what you learned, what you experienced, and I will hope to see you in the next one. So today I'm sitting with Boris. Boris, what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
So I'm Boris. I'm from Russia. I'm making movies. I'm playing music, and I do stuff.
Who is Boris as a
Boris.
person?
Um, Boris is a nice guy. Ex, not nice guy, but now, the guy who likes listening to people, collecting their information, and then putting it into art. It's the guy who travels the world and discovers a lot of cool things and that delivers it again into art and using this is the guy who uses film and music as a tool of the whole life experience I have so far.
I love it. I love it. And just so my audience knows how I found you on the podcast guest exchange subreddit, and you have quite the paragraph, so we got a lot to cover. Um,
Oh yeah.
but I'm curious on what you meant by Boris wasn't always a good guy. What do you mean by that? Let's get into the deep.
Well, I'd say maybe before 16, when life started happening to me, I was
Yeah.
kind of a douchebag. I was
Okay.
kind of a bully in school. Yeah, I should admit I did some not really nice stuff, not bad, really bad, but I wasn't a nice person. But
Yeah.
after some things happened to me in life, I learned a lot. I transformed into a better person, I hope. And here we go. Boom. The nice guy is right in front of you.
Cool. Cool. So, what was it like to be born in Russia?
um, it feels like being unlucky, unblessed. uh, for a while. I was born in 1992. Um, yeah, it's probably not the best time to be born, especially in Russia. But I'm lucky to have
Were you
to be born in. Yeah,
were you born in Soviet Russia? Because were they still around in the 90s? Or is that during the fall
yeah.
of Soviet Russia?
This is the cool part. I was born like a year after USSR collapsed, so I'm one of the first Russians, non-Soviet Russians ever,
Whoa.
still alive. So yeah, 1992.
Uh-huh. What was your childhood like in a period like that?
Uh, it was all right. I guess it was just a regular childhood. Nothing bad happened to me. Nothing
Uh-huh.
really good happened to me. Just a regular guy going to school, living with
Yeah.
parents. And
Because from like, and from an American point of view, my I see, like, obviously not like now, but as a younger person, I see Russia as a poor country with a dictator government. But that's not entirely what it is. But it's just interesting that your childhood to you is so normal versus mine, where you know I'm in America, and it's just so different. I don't know how I'm trying to describe it, but it's so different.
yeah, I believe there are some differences. And saying that Russia is like very poor a country under the dictatorship, it's quite accurate to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm successfully not living in Russia for the past 10 years. uh, but I think it's just I was just lucky to be born by these people, my parents, in this specific time and with this specific family. Uh,
Uh-huh. What was your family like?
my dad originally he's like a physics teacher,
Hmm.
but in the 90s he got lucky to become a businessman, and he opened like the first electronic shop in my hometown. And yeah, he was number one in distributing the microwaves, TVs, the first cassette tapes, the CDs and that kind of stuff. So he was the number one guy.
See, that's crazy because like I was born in 2001, so like a decade after you, right? But like during the 90s, you still had CDs and you know Sega and
Oh yeah.
Nintendo. But for like in
Oh
Russia as
man,
a
you just
kid,
hit my heart with those words.
but like in Russia as a kid, like you're getting a microwave and being like, holy shit, this is crazy. I got a microwave
uh,
versus in
uh,
America where it's like I gotta have the Sega and the Nintendo.
wow. Well, the most incredible and exciting thing about the electronics in my childhood was the having the cassette player, the
Yeah,
portable cassette player. It was like boom, mind blowing, man. Then I used
exactly.
to have the CD player, which is much more crazy. And what was insane is having the small 512 megabyte MP3 player. Man, this was the future in your
Yeah,
pocket, like
totally.
listening to songs without using CDs or recording the tapes from the radio, and like you can listen to anything you want. This is crazy.
Totally. Yeah, that's just so interesting. I love that. So what did you do after your childhood? What was your adult? When did you were 16 and you were evil Boris? When did you become good Boris? What events made you switch your opinions?
So after 16, I just moved to another city, another town, out of my uh, family house, and I started studying film. I've enrolled in film college and a different city, and a year after that, I just got into the mandatory military service of Russia when I turned 18. So
Hmm.
yeah, they gave me an AK, and I spent a year doing army stuff, uh, Russian army stuff, and this is when my childhood been ended, and probably the evil Boris started fade away slowly.
Hmm. um, what is I want to talk about the military in Russia for sure, but I'm curious, what is it like to be in film school in Russia? Because I feel like making, and as a filmmaker in Russia, making films, I feel like there's a bunch of restrictions you must have on you,
Oh yeah,
especially in
that's right.
school.
So There's like two major film schools in Russia, in Moscow and St. Petersburg. But I was I was lucky or unlucky to get into one of the worst film schools ever. So the studies were like, man, the material was really outdated. So we were studying how to use montage on Soviet film equipment and like
Wow.
ancient TV cameras. Man, it was kind of meh experience. But
Yeah.
I've learned the basics, how to dig into the root of film. I've learned the best from the Russian legendary film minds like Tarkovsky, Alexander Rom, and like those 100 or 50 years ago film Russian guys. Yeah, I learned a lot from them. But there's no way of filmmaking in Russia right now. There is some underground indie films that are possibly alive, but it's not developing, man. There was no good Russian movies like for decades already. And if you're a director, if you're a guy with a cool idea, it's barely a way to make it in Russia, because most of it is like commercial propaganda stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So what is like how bad from your firsthand perspective, how bad is the censorship there? Like what is like what's like Avengers Endgame like in Russia? You know, like that big movie versus
Hmm.
America, if you happen to know that answer. Very specific.
Yeah, I got it. um the censorship of like Western movies or Western culture is kind of okay. The government doesn't care much about it, but the censorship of the local guys, of the local stuff, is getting tougher and tougher every year. So just be careful what you say.
Yeah.
uh, like Avengers are fine to watch in the cinema. Like Tarantino, bloody stuff, some boobs or swear words are okay in the cinema. It's fine. Uh, Internet is they're trying to control it, but hey, man, and nobody can really control the internet.
Yeah, it's still in the
Uh,
Wild West.
you see, how can you stop that flow?
Yeah.
But I used to live in China for 3 years, and that's where the censorship kicks in, man. I'm telling
Uh-huh.
you, like they're really picky about the movies they show in there. Avengers, they've cut some scenes in there. Bohemian Rhapsody, I remember watching that movie in Chinese cinema, and there is no kissing scene, there is no drug scene. It's just a movie about the great singer with no struggle who just go on the scene and
That's
sings "We Will
crazy.
Rock You."
Because
Uh-huh.
like the biggest thing of his life was he was gay. You know, like you can't tell his story
Mhm.
without that.
Yeah, so Chinese guys, they think that it's better not to show this to our people.
That's crazy.
Okay. Mhm. So in Russia is less
Uh-huh.
strict about that stuff as China.
Wow, that's just like such a I love this. This is great talk. This is so like this is like this what are they called? Synapses in my brain are just firing off hearing all this. What's uh what's it like to be
More to
in
go.
the
Stay tuned, guys.
yeah, right. Straight up. We're gonna be here for a while. That's why I got some coffee. Like
Yeah,
the
get
crazy
done.
thing too is like you can't really see because I have blinds, but like it's like pitch black outside. You know, it's
Oh, crazy.
it's it's 11:12 where I'm at, but it's like what time is it where you're in Vietnam right now? So what time is it?
It's like 1:15. Uh, yeah, in the afternoon.
Has but it's a Monday too. So it's like we're talking it through time.
Yeah, it's weird, man. We're in such different conditions, but we're having a real chemistry right now
Yes,
going on.
totally. Right? Where
Yeah.
My I've been pondering a name for my podcast called The Human Condition. That's what we're doing right now, right? We're just like in the human condition together, but we're across the whole
Oh yeah.
globe.
Oh yeah.
Um, so what's the Russian military like? Give us a story on your Russian military experience.
So it's a mandatory thing till now. Weird, but yeah, like if you turn 18 and you're a guy, you have to. The law says that you have to go to the military for 1 year and serve it. Like you can avoid it, you can pay money and avoid it, but some guys they just don't have a reason to avoid it or have a
Wait,
reason to go there. So
sorry to pause you,
uh-huh.
but did you just say like you either like are forced to go to the military or you can pay not to go?
Oh yeah, of course. There's a lot of ways to avoid it. Like basically, it's just the old law that nobody cares to fix. So yeah, if you dare about it, you can avoid it. If you have connections, if you have a daddy, if you have money,
Yeah.
easy. Or any other reason, medical, like health reasons, or some stuff like that. But in my case, I wasn't forced to go there. It was kind of my decision to go there, and it was tough, man. It was tough. It was that tough that after this 1 year of military service, nothing actually ever can scare me, or nothing ever appears to be challenging to me after 1 year in the
Wow.
Russian army.
Why is that? What are some of the
Um,
things you experienced?
oh, it was like a physical and mental challenge.
Hmm.
1 year, like just imagine being an 18 years old boy having a jolly life in the film college and school and stuff like that, and boom, they give you an AK and they wake you up at 6 a.m. every morning, and they tell you to go and patrol the secret zone somewhere in the middle of Russia. And yeah, you're surrounded with Russian village guys that are not actually intellectual people, and there's nothing to talk about with them. So this lasted for 1 year. Yeah, kind of challenging thing. Now, I can tell you a cool story about the shooting range. So it was like a regular thing, monthly, to go on a shooting range. They give you like a box of um, ammo for your AK, like several rounds, and you just jump in the truck. You go 1 hour ride to the shooting range somewhere in the middle of the forest. And the worst trips were in the winter, man. Like Russian winter, I think you've heard about this. Like
Yeah.
minus 30 Celsius, it's like terrible. And they just forced us to stay in this big tents, 30 people inside, no electricity, in the middle of nowhere, forests, and for 1 week. You wake up at 6, you warm up your AK, you go, you just run and start shooting on targets, throwing grenades, eating frozen bread and some kind of just rice with water daily, and that lasts for 1 week, and then you go back to your barracks, you do your service, and the next month it's happening again and again and again and again, and throughout the year, yeah, this kind of shit happens. So yeah, and after this, nothing really
Yeah.
seemed
I totally.
challenging for me, man. It was brutal. It was like worthless waste of time, but yeah, whatever happened happened.
But it made you like, like it made you a man, It made you strong, made you
Yeah, oh
strong
yeah.
Russian.
There are so many other ways to make me a man. Why exactly this way happened to me? But yeah, whatever.
That's crazy. Did you ever did you ever like see action or any like real military stuff in the military?
No, luckily I wasn't in any hotspots, but I
Yeah.
was in this division with really strict rules. Like you have to be on time, you have to be on schedule. So the discipline is like on was on top in there. And basically, what I was doing is patrolling and securing some kind of secret lab or some scientific underground factory. I don't know. So they never told us. It was just a perimeter that we were patrolling daily, and that's it.
Huh. So what is like what does the Russian military do? Right? Like so like you had like United States and Afghanistan until recently, right? So like what is
Mhm.
the Russian military's like what do they do? What's their priorities?
Hmm. I bet it's like most the defense defense matter because I've heard there's some military supplies and military support in Syria, but Russia is not having any military activity as far as I know now. There was some hot like Chechnya war. There was some rumble with Ukraine. Uh, yeah, I'm not really deep into that, but as far as I know, it's mostly for defense
Huh.
matters.
Interesting. Interesting.
Mm.
So what'd you do after the military?
I came back to my film studies, came back
Uh-huh.
to my college and just continue studying film.
Okay. So when did you make the decision that you were going to leave Russia? And
um,
how did you
that's a
do
good
that?
question, man. I think I didn't decide it, man. I think it would be a harder decision to stay in Russia because after years of living in that country among Russians, among that people, is kind of um, me leaving Russia should be happening one day because I just didn't feel like being there anymore. I was lucky to go to Europe when I was 10, a couple of times with my parents, to Germany, to Czech Republic, and Slovakia. Those were beautiful times, and basically seeing another world, another civilization, the way that people live, and the better way of living. Maybe that was like what hooked me to move to leave Russia because when I came back after that Europe trip, it's wow, from this to this, you can
Yeah.
compare.
Yeah, like when you were a kid, like you didn't really know any better until you stepped out into the world and then you come back to your Russian home and you realize how much more is out there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, man. I wish more people could have a chance to go abroad to visit at least once any foreign country outside of Russia.
Yeah.
And that's a mindset, and that's a mindset changer, like completely. When you see how people live outside, outside, you will never be the same. So
Uh-huh.
that happened to me, and like 2 years after the military service, 2 years after studying in Russian film college, I was lucky to get this student program, exchange program for coming to America. And guess what? I was lucky to go to Idaho, Sun
Yeah.
Valley. Yeah,
I
for
actually
3 months.
don't
That's where you are right now, right?
Yeah, I live in Idaho. I don't know where Sun Valley is. Is that in the lower part of Idaho?
It's like Ketchum,
Oh, okay.
Twin
Yeah,
Falls,
yeah.
Ketchum. And I know there's, if you go really north, there's like Moscow.
Yeah, so you're in the bottom part of
Moscow
Idaho.
town.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's cool. That's
So it's
cool.
like this mountain area. Man,
Oh
good
yeah.
memories about Idaho. Idaho.
Idaho. It's a beautiful place. I I'm gonna go to Europe whenever I can, like you said. I totally agree with you because I've done a little bit of traveling in the United States, but I want to, do the big one. I want to go to Europe. I want to go to
Mm,
Iceland. Iceland's number one, and then like Germany and all the other
mm.
places in Europe that I can go to. But I just think it's funny because I'm gonna go to the Europe and they're like, oh, so where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from Idaho. And they're like, oh, where's that? What country is that? Like no one knows what Idaho is.
Yeah, man. I think Europe should be considered as a country, and the countries inside of Europe is actually states, like in America. You know,
Yeah, totally.
so you can compare. They don't have borders in Europe. That's what I can say,
Huh. That's
as well
interesting.
as in states. Yeah, and the difference is they still have different languages, like French, German,
Yeah,
Italian, Spanish. You can compare it to states.
totally. Like each state is and each, country in Germany is they're just little pockets of different
Hmm, hmm.
culture. Like like Idaho and Washington are such different type of people, and then
Oh yeah.
California and Idahoans or Montana are just like polar opposite people. So what do you
Come.
as as a Russian, as growing up in your childhood and military, how do you feel about people who are greedy?
Hmm. Mm, I always feel bad about greedy people, man. It's bad to
Yeah.
be greedy.
But I just feel like
I mean,
you like I don't know if you like had a super poor childhood and you had the cassette tape and the CD player, but it's like that's not too bad.
mm,
But I feel like
not at all.
uh-huh.
Um, Not at all. I wasn't poor. I wasn't in a poor family at all. I
Okay.
would consider myself as a um, the mid level of
Yeah.
of income family. Yeah. Well, we had our ups and downs, of course, in our family history, but no, I've never been living on the street or something like that.
That's pretty bottom right there. So,
Well, I used to live in South Central of LA.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I was really low. I used to live in a tent in Hong Kong,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, probably were the lowest times of my life. But it was all handled. It was all handled pretty fast.
Have you had a rock bottom moment where you just know that
Um,
this is your rock bottom?
Several of them, man. Several of them. Maybe I should mention this LA moment after Idaho. So
Yeah, we
I
got a little
just worked three
sidetracked.
months
Yeah.
in.
So
Well, it goes smoothly into the
yeah.
milestones. So those were wonderful 3 months in Idaho Sun Valley,
Uh-huh.
uh, and all the Russian guys and all these international students, they supposed to come home, but I performed this badass move and I just fucking stayed, and I moved to LA.
Uh-huh.
I hooked to this Korean language college, in kind of English center, and I was just paying monthly fee to stay as a student to transform my visa into the student visa, and that's the
Yeah.
way I stayed in LA for like 8 months. Uh, when I arrived in LA, man, I was chasing this film dream. I really wanted to make movies. That's probably the only thing I wanted to do in my life. So I was really excited about this opportunity to go to Hollywood and to have a touch of film studios. But as soon as I got there, you know what I faced. Probably is thousands of other people who
Yeah.
try to make it in LA. It was tough, man. It was tough. A Russian guy with bare knowledge of English, with bare skills and film, with bare anything, with no friends or connections in LA. So I got
Yeah.
maybe a couple $100 in my pocket, and all I could afford myself is a bunk bed in South Central LA. And it's like Compton area, kind of
Yeah.
that stuff. And I used to share this room with my Ukrainian friend, the only guy I was like really close at this time. Couple of old guys and that black lady landlord. Man, she was so nice, but she was like really loud, screaming and shouting at her husband, and it was impossible to sleep in there. So at that moment, yeah, man, it was like maybe the rock bottom. Like I was so far away from home. I was 21. I had like barely anything,
Yeah.
and I asked myself like, what the hell am I doing here? What I was expecting to coming here, and it was really scary. It was hella scary. But step by step, I managed to climb out. I found myself a job as a mover, furniture
Uh-huh.
mover. Yeah, uh, I got myself a uh, second shift, like night shift, hookah maker or like shisha maker.
Yeah.
So I was working 24/7, sometimes 48.
Yeah.
With bare sleep. But yeah, week after week, it solved out. The pressure was less and less. I moved to West Hollywood. But after 80 months living in LA, I just didn't feel it. I just didn't feel like staying in there, man. I don't know. LA is beautiful. It's a dreamland with those palms and Santa Monica Beach with all those celebrities and studios. But I was so small in that world, so
Yeah.
I couldn't see myself staying in there. So I just left and came back to Russia, finished my college, and got my diploma. And yeah.
Did you have any success in LA with your film career at all, or any leads or anything?
Mm, maybe I had a chance to get in there because I was volunteering there. I managed to go on film sets, and for the first time in my life, I managed to see how the film is done, like real studio, like real equipment, real actors. It was like low budget stuff. I was volunteering for free, of course, for snacks and for free pizzas.
Yeah.
Uh, but man, it was so exciting to see how the camera rolls. So exciting to see how the director works, how it's made
Yeah.
in Hollywood. That was quite an experience, and I'm grateful to be having it then.
What did so what did you do after L? Like were your dreams shattered like when you were leaving LA? Were you what what was like
Um,
why did you leave LA?
um, I don't know, man. Like in LA, all the time I was spending is just trying to earn some money for my rent, trying to earn some money for my visa.
Yeah.
It was no party. It was no fun at all. I barely could like meet new people, have any friends.
Yeah.
I managed to visit some cool gigs and shows and go volunteer and film. I tried to start the career of photographer and filmmaker in there, but man, LA is a rich man's land. I'm telling you, it was really tough. And the idea of having like several months or years like that more, it wasn't just for me. I had a picture of what LA is like, and I promised to myself to come back when I have some cash in my pocket and at
Yeah.
least a name and film. Yeah, that's when LA would be a good land for me.
Yeah. Did you ever go back?
No, no,
No.
never attempted. uh, yeah, I still want to go there. Probably LA is a perfect place for me. I love film. I love
Yeah.
uh, I love rock and roll. The LA Californian psychedelic rock, garage
Yeah.
rock. I'm really passionate about this. I love sun. I love beach. I love girls. I love weed, and this is all LA about. So one
Amen.
day when I'm ready, yeah, one day when I'm ready, I'll just get back and see how it works.
Yeah, totally. You're still young. Plenty of time. Plenty of time. Um,
Oh yeah,
so what'd you do after LA?
yeah. I was searching, man. I was searching. I
Uh-huh.
knew that I love film. I knew that I love music. I wanted to play music. I used to be a drummer throughout all this time, and a little bit of guitar player. So I was searching for a place to stay where I belong, where I could have a good life with a good income and doing what I love. So I was
Yeah.
just searching. When I came back to Russia, actually, during that time in States, I was uh, having this distant relationship with a Russian girl. Her name is Ala. Oh man,
Uh-huh.
that was love. That was love. So we fell in love right before I went to the States. And when I came back, we met again. I got my diploma. I finished my study, and there was zero desire to stay in Russia, of course, after the States. So me and my girlfriend, we just decided to pack our stuff to to get the backpacks loaded and just hitchhike throughout the Europe in search of something. We were,
Yeah.
yeah, that was the deal. We collected some money. We collected all of our uh, packed our backpacks and um, did a schedule, a route where we want to go approximately. And yeah, we started a trip that lasted for 6 months. We visited 20 countries, around 18,000 kilometers, 15,000 miles traveled throughout this time, and that was hell of a trip, man. We didn't find it what we were searching for, but it was hell of a trip, and
Yeah.
that evil Boris probably died during that trip
Good.
when I spent 6 months meeting different people from different countries, seeing how they live. Uh,
Yeah.
I, I learned a lot. And of course, traveling with the one who you love, uh, having this adventure, it's also exciting, man.
Totally. That's it right there. That's it. That's the secret. It's not about the
Oh yeah,
destination, it's about the journey.
yep. You just said it, man.
What are some wacky, characters or adventures from hitchhiking that you can remember?
Hmm.
Take your time to
I
think
barely
too.
can remember any. Barely can remember any bad experience during hitchhiking. There were some challenging times
Uh-huh.
and like bumpy roads, tough roads, some tough periods of traveling, but there was no bad or scary or negative experience.
Good.
Uh, there were a couple of douchebags on our way, but
Yeah.
most of the people we met were like extremely nice and extremely welcoming, extremely helpful, and it was also cool just meeting new people every day. There, I can remember this one cool moment in Croatia. So me and my girlfriend, we were stuck on the road in the middle of the night. We couldn't find any host or a hotel. We had a tent, but we couldn't stop in the middle of that road in Croatia because it was really dark. It was like raining and the weather was bad, and we were just
Yeah.
walking along the dark road. And maybe at 1 or 2 a.m. when we were like really exhausted and tired. There was we were lucky to catch this truck driver. Yeah, the Croatian truck driver. He gave us a lift like for several kilometers, but at 3 a.m. when he was tired himself, he said, "That's it, guys. It's time to sleep, to have a nap. Let's do it." And it started pouring, like raining. Again, in the middle of nowhere, there's no way we could sleep in the cabin because there was no space. So he offered
Yeah.
us uh, to place a tent in his trunk, or how do you call it, like the container? Yeah. So he
Trailer.
opens the container, and it appears like, yeah, the trailer, and it appears like he was transporting fish, and the trailer was basically empty fish trailer. Awful smell.
Yeah,
Of,
totally.
of
That's a
fish, but
gnarly smell.
it was yeah, and it was the only way we could like sleep and spend the night. So yeah, we just placed the tent in there. We sleep for 3 or 4 hours inside that trailer, and then the next morning we wake up totally soaked with the smell, and barely any car could pick us up the next day before we had a proper shower, of course. And yeah, that was hell of a moment.
That's gnarly. Imagine you going like to like where'd you find a shower at?
We just managed to reach the next
Yeah.
village, and we just rented a room in a hostel.
Okay. Man, that
Yeah, we had
fucking
to do it. Yeah.
that hotel front desk person was like, "Oh my God, should I even let them in? They smell horrible. They look homeless. Who are these people?"
Well, good thing we didn't look that much homeless. Like we
Yeah.
were still a young couple of Russians. Yeah, our appearance was pretty trustful at the moment. So
How many languages do you speak?
uh, just to Russian and English. I used to
Okay.
have some basics of Chinese, and now I have some basics of Vietnamese.
Can you can you say some Russian? I know that's like the most
Uh,
American thing to like hear, but I love Russian. It sounds so crazy.
Привет всем подписчикам подкаста. Мне очень приятно поделиться своей историей с тобой.
So what'd you just
Хорошо.
say?
I just said that hello, all the subscribers of this podcast, and I'm pretty happy and excited to share my story to all of you guys.
I love it. That's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah,
So
that's
what
brilliant, my comrades.
Oh my God, can you say this can you say capitalist scum? What do you
Капиталист pig. Капиталистичная свинья.
So let's talk about that before we go to your next chapter. I'm curious, what do you think of communism and capitalism and just the way government works? Because obviously you've been to America, you've been to China, you've been to Russia
Mhm.
and Vietnam. You see like at least three very, I don't know how the government works in Vietnam, that's why I say three, but like pretty very different governments in those three countries.
Mhm. That's a good question. I'm not really good at politics, but I can share from my experience what being in Russia, in China, and Vietnam. So I think communism was kind of an interesting idea. It could work in some circumstances and some time, but it didn't work at all anywhere. It didn't work
Yeah.
in Russia. It doesn't work in China, and it didn't work in Vietnam. So you know what happened in Russia? Basically, just the USSR collapsed because it didn't work. It
Yeah.
didn't work pretty well. In China, there's barely any communism right now. It's just the form of communism, but it's kind of capitalism because people used to have business. They they buy things, they earn money. It's not communism, but they do have a party that is pretty strict towards their own citizens and foreigners. Yeah, and in Vietnam, communism doesn't work as well. They have businesses running all over. They have investments in here, and basically, communism is just a cover, yeah, for the local authorities, I guess.
Huh. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What what
Yeah.
what have you seen? I know this is like a weird question, I guess, but like overall, like the differences between the people in those countries and how their overall attitudes are different.
In China and Vietnam.
Just overall, like you've been to a bunch of countries with different,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote rules. How different is overall people's attitudes towards daily life?
Oh man, it's like that frequent. It's every single nation, every single country has its own routines.
Yeah.
I can say from my perspective as a Russian that most of the countries, they treat Russians pretty well, and yeah, I felt like the kindness of 90% of the countries, 99% of the countries I've visited. I just felt this hospitality, warmth, and kindness, and most of the people I met are extremely nice and all over there. In terms of routine, oh man, I think you can divide it in like America, Europe, and Asia, like those states of minds, and they are different. American state of mind is a lot of talking, a lot of discussing, as I think, and a lot of paperwork. I think, yeah, a lot of things based on like papers, bureaucracy. European state of mind is like conservative, really old school, man. uh, it's like they don't like the new rules, they don't like the new stuff really well. And the Asian state of mind is just rolling with it, rolling with it, in
Yeah.
Yan, just whatever happens, happens. Um, most of the Westerners and like white guys who come to China or Vietnam, they find some like workflow in here is really weird, and some called like stupid, like, hey, are you stupid doing things like that? But actually, it's just taking it easy, and whatever happens, happens. And that's why probably I choose Asia as a place to stay, because it's the best one. Just take it easy and roll with it.
Yeah, I love that. That was deep. That was deep. So after your hitchhiking adventure, what
Yeah.
what happened then?
So after we finished our trip in Barcelona with my beautiful girlfriend, we came back to Russia again, and we tried to lay down to think, well, maybe we can stay here and maybe we can try our luck in Russia. But no, it didn't happen again. So we decided to hitchhike it to China, because we heard some cool opportunities in here. So yeah, we just did the same thing. We packed our backpacks and we started our journey throughout the Siberia, by Baikal, Mongolia, and we entered China. And finally, I think we found what we were looking for, or maybe, but in 2016 there was a thing in China, like the boom of English teachers. So when we arrived in Beijing, we started receiving those offers of hey guys, why won't you be an English teacher here in China? It's so easy and they make a lot of money. I never considered myself as being an English teacher, but after United States, I have this advanced American accent that I can make money with. So yeah, in 2016 in China, an English teacher could make up to $3,000 or $4,000 a month with just 15 or 18 hours a week.
Wow.
And how can you say no to that, man?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So yeah, I just decided it's time to stop traveling. We reached Hong Kong first, and we spent 2 months in Hong Kong busking and collecting some money to move to Shenzhen. It's like the closest border city, with China. So we lived in a tent. We were waking up every morning playing. I used to have this Fender electric guitar, and we just spent a couple hours a day busking and collecting some money to afford ourselves some first time in Shenzhen, China. I found myself a good job as a
Yeah.
teacher in a training center. Oh man, and that's probably was the next chapter. At that moment, we broke up with my girlfriend when the regular 9 to 5 life started. And like after the end of our trip, our journey, we found that living together is not as much fun as traveling together. So we decided to split. Yeah, and that's where my completely new life started in China, Shenzhen, China, as an English teacher with this insane salary. Yeah, that's the next chapter.
Wow. Can you do an English accent? Let me hear your English like American accent.
Um, I'm trying to use that all the time with those Boris with this pronunciation.
Yeah.
Uh, but to be honest, yeah, this is my regular pronunciation that I'm using daily throughout the years.
I just
I
think
think
it's
it's pretty
funny.
American, no?
Well, you definitely sound Russian for sure. I just think it's
Oh, right.
interesting because, I live in America, so I only have one
Mm.
perspective, but I feel like a lot of other countries don't like do accents, right? But I feel like Americans love to try to do accents. Like I love to do a Russian accent, and like pretend like I'm Russian or I'm Scottish or I'm whatever. But I feel
Mm.
like in other countries, you don't really see that. I could be totally wrong, but I just feel like you don't really see that a lot. You don't go to I work at a restaurant, right? So, you go to a restaurant. At my restaurant, we all like, sometimes we pretend like we're Russians, right? Or British, but like, I feel like in Russia at your job, right, you don't really see that. I don't feel like they really don't try to do an American accent or a British accent.
No. In Russia, they barely can see the difference between any language, I think. uh, Maybe, yeah, you can definitely see a difference between French, German, but in terms of accent, no. Even if you're a British guy or Australian guy or Canadian guy coming to Russia, you're automatically turn into the American.
American.
So,
That's
yeah,
funny.
so that kind of accent ignorance level in Russia.
Yeah. So let's 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 ask the first before we continue your journey, right? Let's ask the
Hmm.
first question, first podcast question. So what is before birth and what is after birth? Or what is before birth and why are we born?
Hmm. Well, before birth, there was nothing. It was complete void.
Yeah.
And the ocean of nothingness, and by some miracle, boom, it 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 just happened. The life started. Your life started, my life started, and life at all started by
Uh-huh.
just by a miracle. There's no reason for that. There's no explanation for that. And the reason why we're born is the way I think you just mentioned it. It's not the destination, man. It's just the
Yeah,
way.
the journey.
It's the life itself. Yeah, with all ups and downs. You just gotta feel it, man. Every
Yeah.
single moment, and that's the reason. Wait, is there anything else that can be a reason for living?
I mean, you're totally right. I forgot who I was talking to, but it's this it's the same thing as what you're saying. It's like if life were fair, it was Courtney's episode. It was if life is fair, who are we going like who do we pick to decide what's fair? Right? Like your level of fairness, right, is going to be
Mm-hmm,
different than my level of fairness. So who do we
mm-hmm.
choose to decide what's good or bad when we all have our own perceptions of good and bad?
Oh man, Phew. That's also a good question. To the AI, I think.
To the AI.
um, yeah, I mean to the artificial intelligence, uh,
Uh-huh.
to to the tool who has no personal opinion, no personal experience, has just this sharp decision making, mathematical calculating of uh, circumstances. I think uh, that should be the decision maker.
So what do you believe? What's your religion, right? What is your religion?
I was born in an Orthodox family, but actually I non-religious. I do respect and accept some kind of forms of God, and
Yeah.
I try to explore it. But I'm an atheist.
Yeah, I was getting those vibes. That's why I did the quotes. I was totally getting those vibes. So what has made you atheist?
uh, I think that came to me in the army. It's
Uh-huh.
the silence of God. You know, when you're begging for improvement in your life so much, when you're like praying to God for something and it doesn't happen, you just realize that this phone is not working, uh, and it's all in your head. So the
Uh-huh.
God you're talking to, the God you're praying, it's basically you're praying to yourself,
Yeah.
and you're the master. You're the master of your life. Well, uh, I assume there might be a possibility of the guy or like the uh, executive producer of our world who is controlling the whole stuff in here.
I love
Maybe
that.
there is yeah, some kind of person who started this whole thing and he is like trying to handle it, like I don't know, like a director making a movie or like a game designer making the virtual world or anything like that. Maybe there is a guy,
Yeah.
uh, but you have nothing to do with him, and he has nothing to do with you personally. It's you. It's just you, one on one with yourself.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. I totally believe I believe in like the power of yourself. Like in a sense, you are your own God, right? You what you desire, just like I don't know, the power of yourself, not putting everything on the big man upstairs, putting it onto
Mm,
you. You're accountable for your actions. You have to answer your own prayers in a sense. And but at the same time, it goes
exactly.
into, you know, why do you think life's not fair, right? If there is a God, or if there, there isn't a God. So why is life not fair?
It's just the frequency of personalities, frequency
Yeah.
of people. Like, okay, you have yourself, I have myself, but also we have other people who are living with us, and
Yeah.
their decisions, their choices, they certainly affect us. That guy who ate the bat soup in Wuhan, man, how could you prevent this? How could you do anything about that?
Yeah.
The question is not what happens to you, is what you're gonna do about it. And yeah, this is the answer.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. Um,
Just first thoughts, man. I wasn't preparing it for this at all.
hey, no worries. That's kind of the point. That's kind of the point, is to
Yeah, I
throw
hope so.
people off
Uh,
their guard with the questions. Because I feel
yeah,
like if
I
you
see
try
that.
to, sorry, what were you,
Yeah.
you go.
Um, well, religion kind of helps people in really tough times, in hard times. I can see that. A mother who lost their children in some kind of circumstances go to the church and feels better, finds herself some power and energy to go on and continue living. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the religion. Uh, well, we can consider it as a fiction. We can say that like it's it's not true. Like the Bible is fiction and stuff like that. We can
Yeah.
discuss and debate on this, but we're not that not everybody as strong to face reality. You know, some people, it's easier to take Bible seriously, and that will help them to go on with the life, to continue living, to get on handling this stuff.
Well, totally. I think it's human nature, because for that person, they're gonna put what they lost their child, right? So exhibit A lost their child, and they're gonna put that sorrow, that tragedy into, God in the church, and find happiness, redemption, or whatever, versus
Mm-hmm,
example B, that lost their child and has that tragedy, that sorrow, but instead of putting it in God, they put it into alcohol or
no.
science, whatever
Uh-huh.
they choose. I think everyone would just choose something, right? Alcohol, science,
Mm-hmm.
God, Elmo, whatever they decide to choose. It's just, it all goes back to, we're all in the same human condition. We all deal with things the same way. And so it I think humans, not all humans, but a lot of humans need something to believe in and to follow, need something to follow, right? I mean, look at Russia, or not Russia, but Russia as a example, but more of Nazi Germany is a better example of people just in the, most desperate times in their lives needing someone to follow. And that person turned out to be a complete fucking psychopath, but they still
Uh-huh.
followed him, because when humans are down and out, they need something else to pick themselves up, not themselves, whether it's God,
They need the
Hitler,
light. Yeah.
or science.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, at this point, in the darkest moments, we all need a ray of light, and
yeah.
when we have this only ray of light, we're just trying to hook on it.
Uh-huh. So you're in China, you're teaching English. I think your subreddit post said you went to China prison, right? Is that your next chapter?
Yeah. Okay. Play after pause. We can continue the story. So I spent 3 years in China. 2 years of those I was teaching English, and 1 year I was doing videography and photography and stuff like that. And yeah, I was cuffed and detained because of smoking a joint.
Uh-huh.
It's illegal in China. It's sort of like so.
Yeah.
In the end of 2019, the cops just knocked on my door, and yeah, they sent me to the police station. They committed the THC test, THC test, and yeah, they detained me for 2 weeks with the other foreigners. It was kind of a wave of Westerner detention stuff,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, after those 2 weeks, I just came back home to Russia, met with my family, and I decided to go to Vietnam. There were some reasons why I chose Vietnam, but yeah, in the beginning of 2020, in the beginning of the COVID stuff,
Yeah.
I I found myself in Vietnam, Saigon, and I couldn't be happier about
So why did you choose Vietnam?
that. Well, I was detained. There was a Vietnamese guy, and he couldn't speak English.
Uh-huh.
But so I was in the same room with a Vietnamese guy, and somehow we managed to communicate. He teach me some Vietnamese words. He told me about Vietnam, about Hanoi, about Saigon, and I really liked it. When I came back to my hometown in Russia, I found out that there's actually a Vietnamese community. Crazy, man! Like Vietnamese community in a Russian town.
Yeah,
How is that
right. That's
possible?
crazy.
So there is another sign. Besides that, Vietnam is really cheap in terms of visa ticket. It's really Russian friendly, and I heard a lot of good stories about Vietnam and Vietnamese people and Vietnamese food. Oh my God, man, Vietnamese food is just top. It's
Huh.
heavenly. So yeah, I decided to go to Vietnam. It was probably the best choice at the moment. When I was detained, all my money were like just drained on this process of buying the ticket. Of like my apartment deposit was burned, and yeah, I lose almost all my money. So everything I had all my savings I had basically was enough to go to Vietnam. And I'm here 1.5 year, almost 2 years. I'm here in Saigon, Vietnam.
Wow. So what's your job there?
Um, since I quit teaching English, I decided never come back because it was fun in China at those times, but sooner it turned into like more babysitting and white monkey dancing more than a teaching experience.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, yeah, so it's a closed door for me now. It's still well paid position here in Asia to be an
Uh-huh.
English teacher, but I just it's it's a taboo for me. Never again. And I decided to focus on film. Finally, man, this
Yeah.
time it should work. When I came to Vietnam, I just put all my energy, all my power into making it into filmmaker.
So
Uh,
what's some stuff you
st-
got steaming up?
ooh, ooh, oh, so I started the film project here. It's it's not finished. It's frozen due to COVID restrictions, of course. But it was
Yeah.
fun working on it and getting people interested in it. Um, it was the sci-fi series I like, inspired by Love, Death, and Robots and Black Mirror on Netflix. And yeah, last year I just decided to write my own script. I had never had a real like film experience being a part of a film crew before that, before coming to Vietnam. But I just decided to jump in the water without knowing how to swim.
Good. That's how you
Uh,
do it.
so I just wrote a script. I start connecting with people. I start like screaming and shouting about my idea to every single person.
Yeah.
I started having those meetings. I started pitching the producers. It was a lot of work and it was quite fun. Uh, so the project turned out to be like too high for the local possibilities, too much budget and too much VFX for an unknown guy who has no experience before. So, but I made myself a name as a filmmaker. I took part in several film shootings. I supported local filmmaking. I managed to direct some music videos by myself. Basically, that was my debut in directing. And I'm super happy about that. The result of 1 year being in Vietnam was surprising for a guy who has no directing show reel or something like that. That was
Yeah.
really cool.
So if you don't mind me asking, how do you pay for your apartment? It sounds like you live with people too.
I don't know, man. I ask myself this question all the time. Um, there were some donations from my friends, from some of my relatives, and
Uh-huh.
still donations going on right now. I proved to my circle, to the people who are close to me, who know me well, that I'm actually can do it in directing. That I actually good at visual storytelling. That I'm crafting for making movies,
Yeah.
and I'm putting a lot of effort in it right now. Um, I find myself really in a stupid situation, like having those money from other people. I don't feel that I deserve that, but
Yeah.
because of those money, I still managed to keep on going and have those insane results, man. When I released the first music video for the local pop singer, Vietnamese Justin Timberlake stuff, like
Okay. Okay.
he used to he used he used to be really popular, like in 2013. Like every youngster knows him from the school days back in the day. And I was lucky to be noticed by him. He saw my treatments about this cyberpunk sci-fi stuff, and he really liked my style, and he offered me to direct the music video for him. And I'm like, wow, wow, for a guy who can barely pay for his own apartment, for a guy who has never directed anything before but studied it, that was just a really lucky shot. And
Yeah.
yeah, I've directed 2 music videos for him, and I'm really proud of that work. Oh, dude, never ever in my life I worked as hard and as passionate as for this music video, and it was such a redemption for me. Oh, damn! And whew, the result, the music video turned out to be really good. The song is uh,
Yeah.
Asian pop, like it's okay. It's
Okay.
all right. It's not terrible. It's still listenable. But the visuals that I managed to reach in this music video is wow. When my friends and relatives saw that music video that I made, they're like, wow. And when they show my music video on local TV, they're like, wow. So that was totally worth it. All this money struggling times, all those rental delays, all those unpaid hours that I worked on set was all totally worth it, man.
Totally.
For this ending. Uh-huh. But it's not over. I still have a goal in here. I still want to make my movie. This is the only thing I really want to do in my life right now. And Vietnam seems like a really good chance and opportunity for it to happen.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cool. So let me ask you this, okay? So
Yeah.
so why do you think that happened, right? You were given that opportunity. Would you say that's God, or what would you chalk that up as? Pure luck? But then what is luck?
Mm. Man, you're shooting good questions today. I really like it.
Thanks,
Um,
dog. That's why I'm here.
uh, mm, Thanking God for that is a kind of a reliving ritual for yourself, like thank God, and you feel better after that. Like, but to be honest, it's also random. It's like
Yeah.
really, really random. The whole life, the whole world, and the fact that we exist right now, it's like random, unexplainable, uncontrollable. it's it just happens. Uh, well, for sure, I came to Vietnam. It was my decision. For sure, I decided to go into filmmaking. For sure, there was a moment when uh, this singer, he saw my treatment, and without that, that wouldn't be happen. But in a parallel universe, in a parallel dimension, something else happened, or
Yeah.
something else didn't happen. And when you start thinking about it, man, you can go insane. So
Totally.
um, yeah, you can call it luck. Yeah, you can call it God's blessing. You can call it whatever you feel comfortable with that, but it's just also random.
Yeah.
Um,
What I think, I always like to say the universe. I do say God just because it's easy, just a 3-letter word, you know. But I like
it's a
I
comfortable
like
form.
yeah, totally. Totally. That's a good way of saying it, comfortable form. I like that. But I like the universe, and I totally believe that the universe will give you the opportunities that you need, but it's up to you to open the door. You know, you didn't have to go to that.
Hmm.
You didn't have to volunteer, right? You didn't have to go to, Vietnam. You didn't have to do any of that, but you did.
Hmm.
Like the universe, I didn't come up with this, but the universe will put the doors in front of you, but it's up to you to open the doors, And another quote I
Yeah, I
like
totally agree with that, man.
when thank you. Another quote I like that applies to like your LA experience, right? Is some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. And I love that because it's true. Because I know for in my life, as far as it's gone, it's barely started. Um, I've had prayers, in the past, like, oh God, please let this happen, please, blah, blah, blah. And it didn't happen. And then, a year or two later, I look back on it and I'm like, I'm so glad that didn't happen. Oh my God. I'd be so fucked that didn't happen, you know?
Oh yeah, man, I can feel it.
Totally.
uh, yeah, when you look back, the thing seems to be so much different, right?
Uh-huh. So to segue,
Um,
oh,
yeah,
continue.
I think one of the best God's blessings was that Chinese detention. That was, if you ask me what is a gift from God, from my life experience, it was the Chinese detention, man. It's the best thing that could ever happen to me. I'll go a little bit in depth on that. So after 3 years, wonderful years in Shenzhen, China, I had so much good times in there. But it like a couple of weeks or maybe a month before I was detained, I started feeling that um, these times are gonna be over. Like I was feeling it, man.
Yeah.
I lived with my girlfriend, Chinese girlfriend, and our relations were not as juicy as before. And some of my friends start leaving, and the business didn't go well. And actually, I start realizing that China cannot give me what I want.
Yeah.
China just pays you money for doing what they want.
Yes.
I cannot do film in there at all. And I just stayed at home. I was staying at home and doing nothing for a couple of weeks, and then boom, the cops started knocking on my door, and I'm getting kicked out. And then I come to Vietnam, and I found what I want, the film. I just appeared in this perfect place in the perfect time to make movies. And if there is a God, I want to say thank you, thank you, God, for kicking me out of
Yeah.
there.
That's so crazy, dude. Cause like
Mm.
I have the same story almost. And so like so so my senior summer, right? I went to California. It was cool. I only went for a week, and it was cool.
Mm.
I went to Santa Clarita. It's over by LA, if you know it. And I went to
Mhm.
Santa Monica and downtown LA, and it was cool. It was great. And just like you got to be honest. That's the whole point of my podcast. Being honest, it's like I didn't like have shit going. Like I did, but I didn't. So I do art. I've always loved drawing. I want to make movies too. I want to make comic books and art, painting, shit like that. But back then, and this is just how it is for me. I would just smoke weed all day and be like, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. You know?
Oh
Like
yes, it's always tomorrow. Always
it's
happens tomorrow.
always tomorrow. It's always gonna be tomorrow, dude. And like I don't hate weed. I think weed is definitely like it has its with anything in life, with anything, it has its pros and it has its cons. And the way that it affects me is that it makes me that person. I'll do it tomorrow, right? And that's who I
Mhm.
was.
The tomorrow guy.
The tomorrow guy, I would have like all these great ideas for like, you know, character designs, and I'd like start drawing them. Or I would say definitely the tomorrow guy, but also more of the I call it the self or the false sense of productivity, where
Mm.
you know instead of going out and doing firewood all day, for me, I'd smoke weed and I'd do like maybe an hour of firewood and be like, you know what? I did it. I did firewood today. Now I can go be lazy all day, you
Metal.
know. And that's just who I was. I would like maybe draw like one thing and be like, I drew today. Like that's just who I was. And so I was leaving work one day and I was completely sober. And I won't tell the whole story because it's really long and it has a lot of twists and like complications with like lawyers and shit. But basically, like I got pulled over. The cop thought I was like stoned, but I wasn't. I was completely sober. But I did have weed shit in my car, right? I had a dab pen in my little middle console, right? So
Okay.
he arrested me and I got a DUI and I went to court and I beat it. But then I didn't go to jail. I was only in the holding cell for like 3 hours and then my mom came and bailed me out. But that whole year of being on probation and not smoking
Oh
weed,
shit.
like made
Oh.
me totally realize a bunch of shit about life, a bunch of shit. And you know, the last time I smoked weed was like 2 weeks ago. So it's like I still smoke weed. I just don't do it as much because that's just how it affects me. I know people, I've heard stories of people that shoot up heroin and they're still productive, like
Oh.
everyone's so different. And I just think that's interesting because we both got arrested, right, for a weed charge and it
Mhm.
changed our lives. That was the whole point of my
Yeah,
story.
jail cell buddies.
Jail cell buddies, dog. Amen.
Yeah, that's cool. That pen, so you can go to court just because of that pen in your car.
Yeah, because it's paraphernalia,
That's
right?
crazy,
And
man.
it's illegal in Idaho. And so having a dab pen is considered,
Mm.
actually dabs, right? Are considered in America are considered a felony. Actually, if you haven't like if it's a
Oh,
dick cop and you have a lot of it, it can be considered a felony, like instead of a misdemeanor, or whatever. I don't know the exact terms, but
wow,
you can get in
that's
a
tough,
lot of
man.
trouble for weed. Yeah.
Shit.
So let's
Well,
ask.
as I remember, I used to smoke a lot of weed in
Yeah.
Idaho. That was probably my first real OG Kush experience in
OG
my
Kush
life.
in
And
Idaho. What'd you think of the
good
weed in
times, man.
Idaho?
And those sunsets and sunrises, being stoned in Idaho, those
Yeah.
mountains and those woods. Oh man, it's once in a lifetime, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it gets a little boring after you've been here for a while.
Yeah, I know. It's like feels like a land for retired guys, for old guys.
It is. There's
Just to I
like
know Boise is pretty like full of youngsters. I used to
yeah.
visit Modest Mouse gig in Boise.
Okay. Yeah, Boise.
Yeah,
I've
that
never
was
been
cool.
to Boise, but it's a big city. I'm in the northern part of
Mm.
Idaho. I live in a small town, so I
Oh,
doubt you would know who it is. And
like
okay.
really close to Canada.
Yes, I live really close to Canada. Did you listen to any of my podcast episodes?
No, I just assumed that north of Idaho is really close to
Yeah,
Canada.
yeah. Yeah, it's really where I'm actually really close to the border. I'm really close to the border. And so
Mm.
I've been to Canada once. But
Can you just go there, like
no,
cross the border?
you
Or
need a passport to get in, and that's like
uh,
why I was gonna go to Europe. I thought about it. I wasn't like 100% on board, but I was gonna go to Europe at the beginning of September, right? Like, so I would be in there right now. But going back to what is,
mm.
doors opening and you have to open them and unanswered prayers, the passport shit that takes 4 months to get your
Oh shit,
passport in America. And
for real.
and so I was, I've been doing my podcast for a while, but now, I'm talking to you, and this is a great conversation. And I'm going to do more of these
It
where I
is.
talk to people online, because
Mhm.
sorry, there's like, that scared the fuck out of me. There's like a router in here going off. Just a reminder, it's
I can
12:30
relate,
right
man.
now. So
Yeah, in the middle of the
that's
night.
yeah, dude, I'm in like a giant building alone by myself. That totally just scared the shit out of me, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Um, I forgot what I was
Yeah,
saying, but
maybe it's the cops like tracking your
maybe,
podcast, talking about weed.
maybe they heard us talking about weed and they're like, oh fuck,
Open up, FBI.
right? Knock, knock, knock. That's funny. So let me ask you the second podcast question, okay?
Mhm.
So, what is the point of death and what is after death?
Whew. That's a logical question. The second question after the first question. Um, the point of death is the end. Like it should be the end. If there's a beginning, there should be an end to anything.
Uh-huh.
Uh, everything should be complete. You know, um, there are some things that go in circle, like endlessly in circle.
Yes.
But if you're talking about our life and you're talking about bad things or good things, they shouldn't be like infinite. They should have the beginning and the ending. Um, I did my research on the cool stuff. Like I, I'm into the sci-fi stuff, and I do research for my movies and for the scripts.
Yeah.
So there was a cool YouTube video showing the research of like uh, how it's all gonna end in what is the end of time, what is the ending, like what's the death of the universe. And the death of the universe scientifically, theoretically, and possibly would happen when the last star will just stop producing any light, any heat, and when the last black hole will just collapse, and it will come back to complete void, complete nothingness, when time doesn't have a meaning and doesn't really exist. So just imagine this complete zero of nothingness. So that will happen in trillion and trillion and trillion and trillion trillion years from now. So our life is basically nothing compared to that. But you just asked me about death. So death is the end, and basically even our universe, even all the galaxies, even all the stars and all the black holes, all the planets, they have an end, and it will happen probably. And after this will happen, after the end, there's going to be the birth, and the end again, and the birth again,
Yes.
and again and again and again. So these kind of steps or milestones, you can assume that beginning and the end, birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, and it goes endlessly again and again and again and again, and it never stops. So I assume this is what death for me.
Do you think you will be alive again? Sort of like
Probably.
reincarnation. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever
Yeah.
seen
I think it's.
Sorry to interrupt you, but have you ever seen Mr.
Yeah.
Nobody?
Oh yes, with Jared Leto. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Jared. I think so. Yeah, Mr.
Yeah.
Nobody. They
Mhm.
talk
It's a
about
great
that.
movie.
That's like the whole point of that movie is exactly what you're talking about. Kind of. Actually, no,
Mhm.
it's not exactly what you're talking about because in that movie, time reverses and it goes all the way back to
Mhm.
the beginning, and then it starts up again, and then it reverses and it starts back up.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
definitely I'm on board.
Well, what is familiar, like similar to what I'm saying, is this process happening again and again, again and again, and it never
Yeah.
stops. The circle of life, Lion King song.
Yeah.
So yeah, the same thing happening again and again. And in terms of reincarnation and rebirth, that's a cool concept. Maybe it's even possible. But I personally think that like all the people, the whole humanity is just one organism or one mechanism, you should say. So every single person is just a part of this big one united organism. And when you're dying and somebody else being born is basically the same piece of organism being being alive again. And it's like blood cells, old blood cells are dying and new blood cells are coming.
Yes.
And this process never comes. So just compare yourself as a blood cell. Will like you be reincarnated in the next life? Possibly. Yeah, maybe it will be you. Well, maybe it will be someone else. Or maybe we are all just the same one person, the same one organism. Yeah, so I think that can be possible.
Yeah, totally. So the next question is like what's the point of the stuff in between? We've pretty much already
Mm.
talked about that, the journey,
Yeah, this is the juicy part, the between. Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
main part. What happens in between?
So what I'm curious though, is from your perspective as a, kind of an atheist, I would say, is uh why, let me ask you this then. So
Mm.
why is there consciousness if we are just, a part of a bigger machine, right? A part of this grandiose show? Why give us like, who fucking was like, let these guys know that they're gonna die, right? Like that's fucked up. Why would they let us know? Like what's the point of us being able to understand all of this, be able to know that we die and that we were born?
Mhm.
What's the point of knowing?
Mhm.
What's the point of consciousness is the question.
Probably that's the hardest question of
Yeah.
consciousness. I'm trying to answer this question as well. What
Uh-huh.
is soul? What is consciousness?
Yeah.
Um, if I will try to use cyberpunk as a tool to answer this question. So,
Okay.
um, if you upload your consciousness in the like virtual space in the cyberspace, will it still be you, or will it be somebody else, or will it be just the information about you, or
Yeah.
it will be the data of your memories? So this question about consciousness is it's really hard to answer. I would assume that these questions that we ask right now are getting harder with time, and they're getting deeper and deeper. And this is a part of development. We should grow. We should get better. Like, hey, 1,000 years ago, people assumed that we live on the three elephants on the turtle, and the sun is spinning around us. But now we're super confident that there's like a Milky Way, there's a solar system and stuff like that. And what we're going to discover next, maybe these questions about consciousness, about birth and death, will be like obvious, like really obvious in the next 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So our job is answer those questions and answer as much as we can and find those answers. And once we find those answers, we will find some more complicated questions.
Totally. So, well, like with that, I've said this before on the podcast, but it's like it's the same thing you're somewhat talking about, or it's not the same thing, but I just like you mentioned the turtles, right? The elephants and the turtles, and it's true because that's what they believed back then. And right now we ponder with the idea of the simulation theory, right? That we're all in we're all in this right here, right? The computer, but in 1,000 years when we discover something else, maybe spirituality becomes a bigger thing, psychedelic mushrooms. I'm sure we can talk about those. I'm sure you've had plenty of tales on those. When those get more in the forefront, then we'll have another understanding where, well, the simulation theory, that doesn't make sense because now we know this. Because I don't believe in the simulation theory. I think people, like, the reason why it seems so obvious, like, oh, like this could be a thing, is because that's what's new right now is technologies. It would make, that's what's in our forefront right now. But like 1,000 years ago, it wasn't. And we had, the turtle and the elephants. And then 1,000 years ahead, it will be something totally different, But
that's a really good point, man. I think we should have started the podcast from this topic because it's really deep. Internet is somehow the digital version of our dreams,
Ooh, that's good. That's juicy.
Don't you think so? Because you have that info of your favorite music, your favorite movies on screen of your smartphone or laptop. Those people who make films or video games or anything that is on the screen, it's basically their visualized idea. They're not physical, like you cannot touch it. They don't exist in the real life, but they do exist on the screen, on the monitor. And right now, this is the only way we can access the virtual space, but I'm pretty sure that in future there will be ways to completely be in there, like not just looking through a window and
totally, dude. Ready Player One type shit, for sure.
Oh, and way further than that, man.
Yeah, totally. You're totally right.
You were talking about simulation. Matrix, yeah, did a really good approach in that kind of idea. That was cool, but I doubt that anybody would make such a shitty place like this world.
Oh, right, this place sucks.
Man, it's fucking terrible.
yeah, totally.
If somebody would make a simulation, I'd assume it would be somehow a little bit better than what we have right now.
Yeah, totally, right? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, dude, we're all so fucked, like as sad as it is, like the world's so fucked in
Yeah.
so many ways.
Why would you have to pay your rent? Why would you have to pay your loans or do some 9 to 5 job that you hate if you live in simulation?
Well, with that though, it's like I'm sure you've like have you played this have you played Sims, like Sim City, The Sims? At some point you get
Oh yeah.
fucking bored and you blow it up. You burn down the house. You send in the meteor, you know?
Build 4 walls and just burn the motherfucker
Yeah.
inside
I always
it.
I would always like make giant pits and then have like one pillar and just put them there. So they just
Oh
couldn't go
man,
anywhere.
you're cruel. But you have imagination. I should give you that.
Yeah. Thanks, dog. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, you just strike exactly at that point I'm trying to discover with my movies. Uh,
Uh-huh.
use films as a tool to discover the cyberspace and the possible way to escape death and escape
Yeah.
birth. And just enjoy this infinite way.
Yeah.
Spend it, make our 100% of our time good, pleasurable, enjoyable.
Totally, dude. I
And
love
that
it.
can,
I can't wait
mm.
to watch them because they'll happen.
Me
I
too.
know
I
they
can't wait
will.
to make it.
So 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 next podcast question, right, is
Yes, yes.
what is deja vu?
Ooh. The glimpse of a memory that you never had,
Okay.
or a glimpse of a memory that you could have had. Maybe it's a glitch of this organism, the
Yeah.
memory of somebody else that you're having. Um, you used to have it, right? I can tell that I had deja vu. Is like this weird feeling. Hey, I've seen this before. Maybe I've seen it in a dream. Um, Sometimes I could like tell 100% that I saw this exact moment, this situation in a dream before.
Yeah.
I cannot explain it, man. I think it's a glitch. It's an error in the system.
Yeah.
Something.
Well, to go into what you were saying about the universe, right? It recycles itself. It's born, it lives, it
Mhm.
dies, it borns, it lives. And so to me, I think, and I heard this, the psychedelic mushrooms told me this, totally. They totally told me this. It's like the universe, what it's first I felt you've done mushrooms, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say,
I've seen it all, man.
cool. Yeah. Like, so I had the feeling of like oh my God, I know fucking I know everything, like I know everything. Like, we're gonna be okay, guys. Like, I know literally everything.
So
Like, you can't,
obvious, right?
yeah, exactly. Like, you can't explain it. If someone had asked you, what do you mean? How do you know everything? Like, you couldn't explain it, but you just exactly like it's so obvious, guys. Like, guys, like we're
Can't
gonna
you
like,
see it?
yeah, I remember like I remember like thinking and saying like, guys, we're gonna die and it's gonna be fucking dope. Like it's gonna be great. I can't wait, you know. And then I started to like sit down and get more introspective and think about more
Mhm.
deeply, and the mushrooms were like, the universe like repeats itself, like it basically just said life is a cycle. That's all it said, was life is a cycle. Life is a cycle. And I had a
Mhm.
pencil, and I would grab my pencil and I was drawing this like super cool pattern on my paper. And then I'd look at my pencil
Mhm.
lead, right? The little top part, and it was dead, right? Like, it was dull. There was no more lead. It wasn't sharp anymore. But to me, it was dead. And so I
Right.
put it down and I grabbed the same exact pencil back, but it was sharp again. And I would keep going, keep drawing the same pattern, hearing the same thing, and just keep doing that. And I totally believe that, like,
Nice.
I believe that either we live the same life over and over again, right? So I'll die if and I fuck up, right? If I fuck up my life, if I
Mhm.
don't open those doors or whatever, right? Then I will die, and then I will be born again as Jacob, right? And then I'll have to live the same life over again. And then deja vu will come in and be like, hey man, like poke me in the right direction, right? Or intuition. You like David Lynch, or do you like David Lynch?
Oh yeah, genius. Well, not a big fan, but totally respected director.
Cool. Well, I like what he talks about intuition. I
Hmm.
totally believe in intuition, and you can call it God too, or whatever you want to call it. Just like those gut feelings you get, you gotta believe. Like to me, you gotta listen to that shit because that's the universe, repeating itself, being like, "Hey, man, like don't fuck up this time," like don't be a pussy, like do it, you know, like live in the moment, get out of your comfort zone and do it. Because to me, I think that's the purpose of life, is to get out of your comfort zone. The cycle
Hmm.
is you create a comfort zone and you stay in it a little bit, you enjoy it, the fruits of your labor, you enjoy it, but at some point you got to break it. When it gets too dull, when it gets mundane, you got to break that comfort zone and then find it, make a new one, totally go out of your comfort zone and then make a new one. And then that's the cycle. That's the key to life, in my opinion. That's all I gotta say.
That is exactly how it happens, man.
Totally.
Uh, Maybe deja vu is like a science, like some kind
Yeah.
of science from your past self or your future self.
Uh-huh.
Like in Interstellar, the dad used to send signals to his daughter through this bookshelf,
Yeah.
through the space and time.
Yeah.
Maybe something similar happens with a deja vu. Maybe it's
Yeah.
some kind of signal from your past self.
And like in Arrival, right? How have you seen Arrival?
Yeah. Can
Where
you
they
can you
like,
read this?
yeah, like the aliens, like they talk with like the circles, but then like they're like the very end, that like end scene where like they get super fucking deep, right? It's like he like when like the mom, the girl alien dies, like she'll be back, right? Because like life repeats itself, and they knew that because they're aliens and they're wicked
Mhm.
smart. um what are some of your mushroom ex- experiences and just your thoughts on psychedelics?
um, I'm not get used to it like pretty much. I'm having fun, like consuming it sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Maybe if I have a chance, once a month or once in 2 months,
Okay.
it's enough. Uh, I used to have also an experience with acid, with ecstasy and LSD in China. And
Okay.
then I have nothing to lose, man. I'm banned from there, so I can talk about it really. Um, I had some mushroom experience here in Vietnam also. Uh, all those substances, they are kind of have different effect, but they are kind of have the same goal of throwing you really deeper than where you are right now.
Totally.
Sometimes most of the time you feel happy about this. Most of the time you feel excited and lovely about what's happening around you, and the discovery. It's the thing what basically excites you most. The discovery of those spaces you never have been before, and the
Yeah.
opportunity to take a look at yourself from the third person, like in video games.
Totally.
That what mushrooms do to you. Like you can clearly see yourself, and that's why, as you mentioned, this moment of clearness comes to you. Like you're looking at yourself, and you can tell
Yeah.
what's right, what's wrong. And when you come
Yes.
back, you have this knowledge, you have this experience. Uh, Besides of that, mushrooms brought me. Oh, I also tried some mushrooms in Amsterdam, and there was a cool story about that. took those psychedelics on me. They kicked in, and there was a billboard with Marlboro Cowboy, and bro, I can I can swear I could see that Marlboro Cowboy shaking his hat and smoking the
Yeah.
cigarette right on the billboard. And it was like maybe the first hallucination I had in my life.
That's sick.
Yeah, hallucinations are fun.
Yeah.
If you ask me what I want to try to get like really deep ritual experience of discovering myself, it's ayahuasca, the
Oh, yeah.
Amazonian. You must have known about this.
Oh,
That's what
totally.
I really want to try.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's like
It's
sit
not
down and
about
shit
fun.
your pants, you know? Yeah, it's not about fun.
Yeah, it's not fun at all, but it's a game changer, complete game
Yeah.
changer. Yeah, it's maybe not the third person, but the fifth or like the 10th or the 100th person. You know what I'm
Totally,
saying?
dude. Totally. Yeah, I definitely want to try that. I'm not ready though. I know I'm not, I'm too paranoid right now, you know, as a just a
Yeah,
person.
maybe you
You
have to
gotta,
feel it. Like maybe you should
yeah.
have that deja vu, and as a
Yeah.
signal to have it.
Maybe one day I'll like trip over a ticket to Brazil, right? And I'll be like, well, fuck, I guess I'm doing it now. You know, like that's how it's gonna happen.
This is the time, yeah.
Um, do you got any alien or ghost stories?
Uh, no,
None
I
at
can't
all?
remember anything. Mm, no, okay, can't remember anything being like
Okay.
that. Well,
That's just
I have,
uh-huh.
I can tell that I'm a part-time lunatic. Sometimes I have
Okay.
nightmares and I just do crazy shit when I'm night walking or
Okay. Let's hear it.
when I'm not even realizing. So I'm still sleeping, but I'm doing some shit
Yeah.
like walking uh, uh, or going to the fridge, taking something, or like just doing some regular stuff, but not being consciousness at this moment.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
basically, my body functions, but my brain is not functioning.
Yeah.
I can affiliate that with a ghost story,
No, that works. That's just one of my questions
or
I ask
maybe
people
an
who's
alien story.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but no. Aliens and ghosts are happening in my movie life, my film universe.
Uh-huh. So, what are some of the movies you want to make? I totally get it if you don't want to tell me because I get it, you know, you don't want to disclose any information. So,
No. I'd love to.
please, I would love to hear what
I'd
movies you
love to
got
share.
stored.
I will share probably the movie that I really want to make, the number
Uh-huh.
one. That is, I put a lot of effort and all my heart in it. It's called Mu, M-U, from the Korean and ancient Japanese and Chinese. It means nothing, or zero, or nothingness, or void. So it's a story about the monk who finds the gate to the cyberspace, and who finds the way to transform his consciousness into the cyberspace. And
Yeah.
from out of there, from the virtual world, he's one of the first living beings to exist in the virtual space, and he starts influencing on the real world, on the real life of real people from the outside. So basically, there is a real person who lives in the internet besides like behind the monitor, and he has the power to change the real life, to change the world, the real world. Yeah, and that's the movie I want to make.
Interesting. Interesting.
Hmm.
So, so is it just like him? Like, is that the only actor?
um and there is a horror element of
Uh-huh.
this film when he transforms from the real world to the virtual world, and he
Yeah.
goes through the challenge. So can you hear that?
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
Does it bother you? Oh, okay. Yeah. So in Buddhism, as a Buddhist monk,
Yeah.
they have a specific term of sacrifice. So basically, it's saying no to everything you have. And in this case, the main character, the monk, he saying no to his body. He's basically
Yeah.
getting rid from it, being transformed into the virtual space. It's a painful process of sacrifice. And in the movie, I want to show this as uh, as going through the challenge, and the challenge is a witch, and witch is a firewall, like a internet firewall, who tears his body apart, who takes his arms off, takes his ears off, his side off, his legs off, everything, with enormous pain. And through this enormous pain, he gets transformed. And like when she takes everything from him, ears, eyes, head, legs,
Yeah.
arms, yeah, the only thing that is left is the consciousness, when there's nothing else. It's the consciousness or
Yes.
soul. And when this consciousness is existing in that gateway, when he passes this challenge, when he passes this sacrifice, boom, he's there. He's in the virtual space. In Saigon, coincidentally, in Saigon, there was a monk. He's on the cover of Rage Against the Machine album, the monk who burned himself.
Yeah.
Well, that was an act of protest, but that was also an act of sacrifice. So that guy, he did it like so smoothly, and he didn't scream. He decided to do it. It was his decision. He just poured the gasoline on himself, and he burned himself in the middle of the street as a protest. But he accepted it, and he like decided to do this thing by himself, to go through this pain. And where's he now after doing this? He exists in the hearts and of all those people he was fighting for, he was protecting for. And yeah, this guy basically inspired me to make this character.
I love it. That's deep, dude. I'm gonna steal that. No, I'm just kidding. I love that, dude.
Hey,
That's really good.
I now I want to sign the paper.
That's funny.
No, actually, I assume that somebody can steal this idea or this premise or this concept, but I'm 100% sure that nobody will do it better than me. I did so much
Exactly.
investigation. I did so
Exactly.
much investigation in this character, in this story.
Yeah.
I really felt it, and I think I'm the only person who knows how to make this story properly. So Hollywood producers, if you're listening to that right now, don't even try to make it. You'll fail, I'm telling you.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, I only got 36 subscribers, so I think you're okay on
Oh, okay,
people
okay.
stealing. Um,
All right.
so what are the steps to make that movie happen?
Money.
Money.
If I have the money, I'll make this movie happen. Yeah.
Okay.
I have established the network in here.
Uh-huh.
We're waiting for this long ass lockdown to come down.
Yes.
I'm planning to stay in Vietnam until I finish this, because this is the place to make this movie.
Yes.
With all those locations, with all those temples.
Yes.
I want to make this cool stylistic decision of dataism. It's like where the temple meets the neon club,
Yeah.
when the religion meets the technology. So this character, the monk, is basically this guy using implants. He has like the robotic arm, and I find this kind of cool when the ancient traditions meet the futuristic technology. So when it's going to happen, yeah, as soon as the lockdown goes down, as soon as I have enough money to make it happen, and this is as simple as that.
Cool. I'm excited.
Hmm.
I'm excited.
Me too, man.
So, with everything you've been through in your life, from your rock bottom to your highest peak so far, what advice would you give anyone listening going through a hard time?
Just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Uh-huh.
Patience always pays off, and when you worry about it, you're just wasting your time. As we mentioned before, when you look back, it seems so funny, the things that you were praying for, the things you were begging for.
Yeah.
So just place yourself in the third person. Look at yourself from this perspective,
Yeah.
and you will see that everything is not that bad. And just keep doing what you're doing. Don't think about it, man. Just feel it. If you feel like playing guitar, go and playing guitar. Write a million of songs. If you feel like traveling, go travel. If you feel like I don't know, making coffee every day at Starbucks, if you really love it, just fucking do it, man. Don't think
Yeah.
about it.
Present moment living. That's what all
right now, not tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right now.
That's what Buddhism's all about, is present moment. Since it's in your movie.
Yeah, quit being a tomorrow guy.
Yes. No, that is totally, dude. Totally. Well, it's just like with worth ethic, when you always say tomorrow never comes. There's only today. A thing I read recently in a book that's really good. It has a lot of good nuggets in it. One of the nuggets is for you to not live in the present moment and always be worrying about the future is you causing more problems for you in the future, because by not solving your present moment problems, you'll never be able to solve your future problems, because they're only going to come in the present moment. It's something like that. I might have
That's it,
butchered that a
man.
little bit.
You just said it. It's that simple.
Totally. Beautiful. Is there anything you'd like to
Yes.
talk about? Now it's like the podcast is in your hands.
Okay. I really like dumplings.
Okay.
There's a lot of forms of dumplings.
Yeah. I've never had a dumpling.
In different countries. Oh man, it's amazing. It's basically like this. How do you call it? I forgot the word in English. You put meat into the egg and wheat. I think what spaghetti are made from.
Noodle.
The material. What's the material?
Oh, flour or
Oh,
dough.
yeah. Dough. Yeah. So it's basically dumplings is the meat in wrapped by dough. But when you travel different countries, you find out like there's different forms of dumplings, and it's freaking amazing, man. And I think this is one of my favorite dishes worldwide. It's amazing. It's simple like that: meatball and dough, and that's it. You eat. Somewhere it's really small, somewhere it's really big, somewhere they have like soup inside, which is my favorite.
Yeah.
In some places they eat it with just ketchup. In some places they eat it with sour. Yeah. Yesterday I've tried the Vietnamese dumplings. Oh man, it's the next level.
Next level. I'm jealous, dude. I hate America because we have the worst food here. Like, we have good food. Some food is
I
good.
sign up for that, man.
Yeah, but like we only have like every fucking corner there's McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's, all these like disgusting restaurants. I want like real
I feel
Vietnamese
you, man.
food. What's some food Have you eaten my history teacher went to Vietnam and he was telling us about it. So I
Oh,
gotta
cool.
ask you, uh, have you eaten any like cats or dogs or guinea pigs?
Oh no, no. That's I can tell you 100%. It's a Chinese tradition to eat dogs and like animals and stuff. And if it happens in Vietnam, it's a part of Chinese ancestor throwback, you know. But
Yeah.
traditionally in Vietnam, no, eating dogs is barely a thing. Maybe on the black market, underground, really underground, you can find some services providing dog dishes, but it's not a casual thing.
Why would you want to like eat dog? I feel like that'd be gross.
No, man, that's crazy. I saw in China, I saw a restaurant cooking a dog on the frying pan, and there was like actually dogs trashed on the fireplace, and those guys were totally fine with that. I don't know, man. Chinese are weird. I don't know why they do that. Why
That's
don't they
so
take
fucked up,
power?
dude.
Um, Maybe they consider that as a delicacy, like some kind of luxury, eating a dog.
Yeah. I think my
Maybe, yeah,
history
they consider
teacher,
that they're consuming the energy of a dog, eating a dog.
yeah, totally. Um, it's like the ancestral something. I don't know. I'm American. I'm stupid.
Mm.
Um,
No, man. After having this podcast, I can tell that you're not stupid at all.
thanks, dog. Two thumbs up.
Mm-mm-mm.
I did feel
Yeah.
fail. I did fail English twice, though. I will say that I did fail English twice. Um, but that's okay.
Yeah. So Chinese food is terrible. Vietnamese food is awesome.
Really, you don't like Panda Express?
Hey, the best Chinese food is outside of China. All right.
That's so funny.
Yeah, Chinese food is just uneatable. It's impossible to eat for a normal person. It's food mixed with spices. No, it's a little pinch of food in the spices
Wow.
because oh my god, man, it's so hot. It's so spicy. It's terribly. It will make your ass burn for days. I don't know how they eat it. Besides that, the quality of food, the products, it's terrible. I used to have a trip to Japan for 2 weeks with my Chinese girlfriend when I had this vacation on the teaching school. So Japanese food is top quality, man. They put so much effort to make every single dish like so delightful, and you're
Yeah.
just feeling alive when you eat this in Japan. But in China, is you're eating plastic. Like even you're buying eggs in the supermarket or in the market or some vegetables feels like plastic. And the
That's
dishes they cook, I don't know, um,
that's
some kind of
sad.
spice juice soaked in pepper in another spice in another pepper, and there's a little bit of meat somewhere in there in the middle of the bowl. It's terrible. What you're having right now in America, like Chinese food, woks or noodles, are much better than they used to have in China.
Wow.
Hmm.
I never really thought of that because it's so weird because like now that you say it, it's so obvious that that's true because they have like I forgot what it isn't they have like a China itself has like 2 billion people or like 1 billion
Coming
people.
close to that number, yeah,
Yeah.
almost 1.8 billion people.
Yeah, crazy. And like but like you when you think of China, at least I do, American white boy, it's like when I think of China, I feel like they would have good quality food. I don't know why. I just imagine China would have good quality food. But then you say it and it's so obvious. Of course they don't. They don't have like Like I tell everyone, don't shop at Walmart. Don't get food from Walmart because think of how many stores Walmart has to supply with meat, with chicken,
Oh.
fresh vegetables. No fucking way those are fresh.
Oh.
No way. And then something I was thinking about
No way,
today,
man.
interesting you brought up food, was like, I think food expires faster than it used to. So we buy more food because, like, back in the 1800s, 1700s, when you lived on a farm and you like grew your own food, at the end of the
Mm.
year, when you have harvest and you pick up all your food, when we get potatoes, right? They only last maybe a
Mhm.
month, maybe a month. At the maximum level, they last a month. But back then, when they're
Mm.
harvesting all this food, it's supposed to last them until next harvest, you know? So how does it not go bad? How did it
Uh,
not go
uh,
bad?
hmm. Uh, Maybe the quick distribution, and like farmers used to sell their hay pretty fast. In some places, they had some equipment to contain food, like prehistorical
Yeah.
fridges, like putting it
Yeah.
in the cold water or in the cave or in like cold stones or stuff like that. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure like farmers they had some tricks to maintain food before. Yeah. Well, what is interesting, what kind of food consuming level China has reached right now. Like imagine feeding that amount of people, producing that amount of food and delivering that food to that amount of people. Like
Yeah.
um, China is the only country that faces that kind of workflow, you know?
Dude, you're so right. That's crazy. That's so much.
Mm.
That's so much. 2 billion people
Mhm.
they have to feed, Like how like
In
how
in
much
Russia, when you're
uh-huh.
yeah, go on, go
No, you go on. You go on.
on. uh, in Russia, when you take a train
Uh-huh.
through the whole land, uh, you can see like the train station in the city. 30 minutes after that, there's like a landscape of forests, none habited by anyone. But in China,
Yeah.
when you're taking train, it's like constant city. It's inhabited, like the whole surface is populated. It's a village, it's a town, it's like the edge of town. But when you look in the window, when you're traveling by train, you see buildings almost everywhere.
Yeah. They don't have Do they have any like natural forests or any like nature preserves?
I think they ran out of it already.
Yeah, totally. That's crazy.
What I know, they are buying wood from Russia right now.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
from the north,
Dude,
because Russian Siberia is uninhabited. So.
yeah. Dude, America's fucked then. If like Russia and China are in cahoots, dude, America's so fucked. And North Korea, those three are all in cahoots. Dude, America's fucked.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Uh, China is well, it's definitely has some powerful times right now, but
Yeah.
actually, it is hated around. Mongolians hate China, Koreans hate China, Japanese hate China, Taiwanese hate China, Hong Kong hates China, Vietnam hates China, like Nepal hates China, all
Wow.
around China, they hate it. And they don't hate the people, they hate the government that is
Yeah.
over cocky, over powerful, and always try to occupy the territory that basically doesn't belong to them.
Yeah.
And yeah, just imagine being so powerful and rich and having so much enemies around you. Is it a good thing? Will it last long? I don't know.
Where do you see the world in 50 years?
Whew. Man, I want to be positive. I see that there's no borders, there's
Be
no money,
positive,
there's
be negative, and then be
uh-huh.
realistic. Sorry to interrupt you.
Okay. Um, I'll try to combine it into the one.
Okay.
If I hope that the virus thing, the COVID thing, will bring people's mind a little bit, make people a little bit more smarter and take
Yeah.
actions towards what's happening right now. And if people will take actions, in 50 years, everything's gonna be fucking great, man. There's gonna be no borders. There's gonna be no money. There's gonna be like one government that is really quiet and nobody knows about it, but it functions and functions pretty well. There's a lot of people that improve their lives, and yeah, you can buy a ticket on the Hyperloop and and
The
go to
Hyperloop.
yeah, and with no visas, I can go from Vietnam to Idaho right away.
Oh, yeah.
There is like 100% access to the internet. There's no factories. There is no gas usage. There is the like solar punk aesthetic is blooming with no gasoline, like solar power and electricity. There is more plants. There is more animals. The planet is blooming and developing, and there's more smart, adequate, positive people in this world. So yeah, I see that scenario in 50 years if we take actions right now.
Uh-huh. All right, so what do you think your negative view is?
Oh man, we're fucked.
Dude, we're
Mad
so
Max
fucked.
scenario.
I don't want to like, I like that image. That was a great image you made, but I don't see that happening anytime soon, if you want me to be
Yeah.
honest. I think I don't know, man. I don't see it. I just don't see like of course I want to believe that. Of course I want that to happen, but just like I don't know, I just feel like there's been so much negativity recently. There's just been so much bad happening. I think here's what I think. I think there's been so much fucking proof of that we need to like open our eyes instead of worrying about how many TikTok followers you have, you know, what power I have over this country, or I need a new car, right? Versus why is there a birth? How come it leads to death? What's the point of the stuff in between? Those are the real questions we need to be asking. We need to be figuring out, putting all of our brain power together instead of worrying about the stupid shit that is finite, that ends, you know?
I will sign your petition, man.
Thanks, dog. I made a subreddit. You can join the subreddit. I'll send a link.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, I hope those people who listen to this podcast and who are listening right now, they will start thinking about
hopefully
the important things. Yeah. Negativity, man. Just quit it. Just fucking quit it. Just stop doing shit that makes other people feel worse. That it is that simple.
Totally, man. The thing, one of the things I live by is that there's two wolves inside of you, or two dragons, since you live in Asia, right? There's two, and one of them is a negative dragon, one of them is a positive dragon, and they live inside of you, and whatever dragon you feed, that's the dragon you become. You know, either you're negative or you're positive.
That's it, man. You just said it. Some people say you should keep it in balance with negative and positive. Personally, I think hell no. Just cut all the negative thing. Why do you need it? Why anybody would need it? Like you arguing with someone else, or you're criticizing, or saying some bullshit to other people or doing some bullshit to other people,
Yeah.
stealing, killing, lying. Why would
Shit
you do
that-
that, bro?
Yeah,
just just
totally.
don't do that. And that's it. I know your life can be tough, but if you keep doing bad things, it will never stop. Violence causes violence. Lies cause lies. So if you do that, you just keep this negative flow going,
Yeah.
and it's in your power to stop it, to stop feeding your negative lion, negative wolf, negative dragon.
Yeah. Do you believe in karma?
Mm, I think yeah, it's real.
Have you ever had karma happen to you? Do you think maybe from evil Boris, those troubling days coming back to you and haunting you forever? Just kidding.
Uh, I can confess, I did some bad things in my life. Not terrible things that could ruin someone's life.
Yeah.
But there was a moment in the college. I used to live in dormitory and sharing my room with 3 southern guys from what was it? Shit, I forgot not the Kyrgyzstan, but not the Uzbekistan, but the Stan guys. And they're pretty hot-blooded, like they're really cocky and stuff like that. So once we had a fight, 1 versus 3. I don't remember the reason, but the guys were really cocky, and they were like, the reason wasn't sufficient. It was just was a desire to fight and to show off themselves. So it was 1 versus 3, and yeah, it's obvious they won the battle. But what happened after that? Personally, I got this energy from this battle to make one of my first short films, student short films. I got the next morning I woke up, I had like some scratches and beaten eye, and I found myself some inspiration to make the movie. But for those guys, after a
Yeah.
week, they got punched and themselves by some random Russian people on the street in the middle of the night, and the consequence of that fight was much worse than I got. So that was like a hospital thing, health injury. So that's what they got after being cocky with me. That was like the clearest story of covering the example.
I love it. That's interesting. I love it. Well, we're at the
Hello,
two
hello.
and a half hour mark. Hello? Uh-oh.
Milestone.
Uh-oh, guys. We're losing connection.
Okay, are we back?
Yeah.
Are we back?
Hello? Hello?
Are we back online? Don't switch
Hello?
that dial.
Can you
Okay,
hear me?
I hear you pretty well, and I can see you. I think it was
Cool.
just a little bump.
Just a little glitch for sure.
Mhm. Well, what was the time at your place, man? You must be sleepy as hell right now.
I'm a little sleepy and we've been talking for a while. And I asked you all my questions, but I really
Yeah.
enjoyed our conversation, honestly.
Yeah, dude. Likewise, it's a smooth flow.
Thank you for listening to my podcast. Down below in the description will be a link to all my social media accounts where you can get news, interact with me, and enjoy my art. But more importantly is a link to my Discord server, Facebook group, and subreddit. These will be discussion boards where we'll talk about the podcast and all the stories we hear on each episode. But more importantly is I want to hear your story, your thoughts, your perspectives on what you think life is. All the questions I ask, I want to know your answers. And have conversations with you and anyone that needs to talk about something or just wants to talk to someone. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much hate we feel towards someone or something, we were all born and we will all die. But for right now, we're stuck in the in-between.